And we're live. Hi, it's John here again with another Indie Creative Entrepreneur's Journey. And this time I've got Theresa Chaze, who's a writer, producer, filmmaker, and basically she loves sharing stories. And so what we want to dive into is, what it is that kind of drives her, what is it that kind of motivates her. But before we do that, Teresa, maybe you could share a little bit about what lights you up in the morning, what kind of gets you going each day.
Writing my fur kids, which meow, um, making a difference in the world, and being able to help people. Life is as amazing as you let it be. And when you put yourself out there and not really put other people's first, because you have to have that balance, you have to take care of yourself.
Mm,
But when you help others, your problems seem to lessen, but then you also open the door up for others to help you as well. And
definitely.
so, and I love to walk and garden, and I'm a snarky individual. So I'm trying to be well-rounded.
Awesome. So, Teresa, what was it that got you started in your love of stories, and what was it that kind of like? Can you talk about a time that like you really discovered this passion?
I can tell you exactly when it happened. I was
Mm,
about 11 years old, and I didn't have a Mother's Day gift for my mother.
mm,
So I wrote her a poem, and it's been long gone. And it was basically writing it. It was like feeding food to a starving person.
mm,
And so I wrote poetry for a long time. And then my first short story was, I don't know where it came from. I scared the crap out of myself. I was babysitting, and I started writing this short story about this man who was a POW. He came back. Um, he had lost his humanity,
mm.
and so he lived in a cave in the woods, and he hunted whatever he could get he could catch, and he ended up hunting this girl who was coming home from babysitting, and he ended up, her fear awakened his old memories. My
Mm.
first writing class, I brought that in, and evidently the details that I came up with for about the time as his time as a POW were so accurate. It sent one of my classmates who was back from Vietnam into a flashback.
Wow.
And so it was like I don't know where that information came from. I just let it flow, and amazing things are created. And I went to the first novel, and I realized I didn't have enough information, so I went to college. And that got me into film and television, and the rest is history.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand, like kind of when you're in the flow that like you sometimes we don't even know where the stuff comes from. It's like
Right.
kind of this well, if you will, that we tap into and stuff. Can you talk a little bit about like people that along the way, like besides your mother, that kind of really helped you along your journey, that kind of like really were points of inspiration or sources of like kind of maybe guidance?
There was, as part of when I went to Michigan State, since I wanted to write for film and television, I needed an actor's perspective. And
Mm,
one of my instructors, her name was Joyce Ramsey, and she was one of the last actresses, that was part of the MGM stables.
mm,
And she not only gave me really good insights into acting, and I was really good in class, but I've never used it. Um, but she also read what I wrote, and she inspired me. My first screenplay I wrote back in the early '90s. Me being me, I found Katharine Hepburn without the internet, and the one role was written for her, so I sent it to her, and she wrote back. It was really good. Thank you very much. I've retired. And so I wrote back, please, and I got another note back. Thank you very much. And basically saying thank you. I've retired. Now, if I had been the person I am now that I am back then, there are different levels of retirement. And I probably could have talked her out of it because the role was very good. I have since rewritten it several times. I'm on the fifth draft, but we're producing Never Can Say Goodbye. And that's a current project on our slate. But the role of Amanda was originally written for Katharine Hepburn. But there have been a lot of really wonderful people along the way that have inspired me, and including my heart mom, Ann Whitworth, who has been an inspiration. She's kicked my butt when I needed it, been comforting when I needed that too. And she's just an amazing lady, but there have been a lot of amazing people.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's really, having those people in our lives really, it's besides being unforgettable, their values beyond measure as well and stuff. On the other hand, sometimes of course, not everyone is as inspiring or as kind of positive about the things we shoot for and stuff like that, because maybe it's scary to them or foreign to them and stuff like that. So have you also encountered some moments where you really second guess yourself and kind of doubted whether this was the path for you, and if there was kind of just basically those dark points and stuff like that?
Yes, especially dealing with money people. There are a lot of people who claim to have or claim to know. They're the funding finders.
Right.
And there are a lot of con artists out there, and I've I've been bruised and bloodied more than once. They waste a lot of time, but I've learned what to look for. But also, people who have loved the script, but have targeted, but have offered to help fix it for a fee, and they're just looking for a paycheck.
Right.
So, you just have to persevere and believe in yourself. A producer that I'm working with, Pam Wessel, she's on several of our projects, and she's been a good friend, but she's also an industry professional who basically, has believed in me, and more than one occasion told me to, suck it up and pull my big girl panties up and keep going. Because if you let that self-doubt come in, then they win. And that's one of the reasons I left the industry in the mid-90s. That now is becoming, to put it nicely, a bitch on wheels, just because of that same type of behavior. So I'm ready to come back, and I'm stronger, and this time I'm going to do it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's the other thing I've learned as well. It's really, and I've talked about that with a friend recently, that there's something about that grit that there's nothing to replace it. No amount of skill or luck or connections and stuff like that, because different people have different resources, right? And we all kind of start at different points and stuff on our journey. But the thing is, though, the one thing that I've he and I discussed is we found in common with the people who make it versus the people who don't is that determination, and that's clearly something that is something that separates folks. And then also having a bigger why, and so can you talk a little bit about some things right now that's really motivating you to keep going? What kind of things that I think we've talked a little bit about one of your projects with the military folks.
I've never served. I'm going to say that straight up. I didn't have the temperament for it. There would be no use of me going in if I'd be spending the entire time in the break. And plus I can't really shoot a gun, but I do have a 50 caliber mouth and I'm not afraid to use it. But I really respect those who do serve, and it makes me very angry when they are sent into situations for no good reason other than greed. I get even angrier when people use them as political footballs, because they are not pieces of the war machine, they are people. And I have fought and built a wall around Horses and Heroes because I want the politics kept out of it. This is about military personnel, veterans, and the people who love them. They are people. And they're real people who have real needs and who have real injuries. And if all you're going to do is flap your lips and claim you're for the veterans without following up, you need to shut up. Which is kind of hard line, but that's a simple truth. Horses and Heroes, it's an amazing project. No, it's never been done. It's a reality TV series, for lack of a better genre, but it promotes healing, not endorsing bad behavior. We're combining peer support therapy with equine therapy to give them a safe place to where they can heal themselves and come back to the world. And people in the industry keeps asking, well, do a pilot. We can't do a pilot. The therapy is real, and until we're ready to go fishing, we can't open that crack of worm, that can of worms, because you just can't start it and then say, oh, guess what? We're going to go on a hiatus until we can get the rest of our funding and a network. So you just, hold that breakdown for, for a couple of, 2-3 months, and then we'll get back to you. So we've got videos that basically show what we're going to do, but we don't have a pilot yet.
Yeah, that's definitely like the thing that you run into different times is that especially for the people, the business folks, that they want like kind of proof. They want like kind of the things that make them more secure to kind of move forward. Meanwhile, like unless you have that kind of funding, yeah, absolutely, it's like kind of you can't kind of half-ass it.
Right.
You have to be fully committed to it and stuff. So what kind of ways that maybe that people can help with the project though? Like what are some of the things that like would really help to get the word out?
Well, every time you talk about it and send them our way, we do have a Facebook page that has links and videos, but we are looking for a corporation to cross brand with in an old school in a new school kind of way. Back in the day of early television, Mutual of Omaha sponsored the Wild Kingdom. It was their baby. Their logo was embedded. Their name, the two of them are synonymous, and we are going to be doing something similar, only different. I have formatted the show so there are 2 10-second billboards, one at the beginning, one at the end, and then a 10-second bridge that is dedicated to the sponsor. But they're not just ads. They are basically combining the brands and showing how the sponsor supports veterans. One of the things that really tick me off, especially a couple of times a year, where you get these Veterans Day sales and Memorial Day sales, but they don't support veterans. It's a marketing strategy for them, but they don't hire vets. They don't support veterans causes. They just make money off of them.
That's a great point.
It is really frustrating because what does a Memorial White Day sale have to do with veterans? Or a car sale or whatever they're selling. And it's insane. And, you know, you've got these companies who actually do work with veterans. USAA is one, New Day USA is a competitor. But we are looking for one of those type of people, or the corporations are not people, but one of those companies who actually want to make a difference, because they're going to be helping more than the 8 people who in each season. They, you know, we're going to be going through this, through the airways into people's homes and giving veterans from World War II all the way forward the permission to seek the help that they need, because they're not getting it. The VA put out the stat that 22 a day commit suicide. That's only with 21 states are recording, and it doesn't include those who die in car accidents or overdose, or, you know, death by violence, death by cop. It also doesn't include the 1 a day active duty that chooses to die. You know, it's really easy to get somebody to kill you, you know, to die if somebody, you know, you got a bunch of people trying to kill you. But it's the number is actually closer to 200 a day that we're losing. So 200, about 200 today will die. And we can't save them all. But even if we could save one, it's worth our time and our effort to save that one. And that one will show that others can do it, and more will be saved.
Yeah, it's funny. I just recently did a story of the starfish story, where, you know, like, I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but yeah, it's just that idea about, you know, like, as the little boy says, you know, it's, you know, what does it matter? It matters to that one starfish, and the reality is, like you said, it also matters to the people around that starfish, you know, because the thing is, like, kind of, you know, for the one vet we save, that's somebody's, you know, son, or somebody's parent, or somebody's, you know, daughter, or you know, like a brother or sister. I mean, you know, they're connected. It's a community and stuff. So we absolutely do need to, you know, like, kind of save, even if it's just that one life and stuff. So that's definitely the key. It's just, you know, not to, like, kind of treat it as if any life is, like, you know, that's the basic problem that we've run into in the past.
Yeah. One of the things that I've just started doing, I am writing a parable called God Saw a Butterfly. And I will be having it finished in the next couple of days, and it will be released next week. I am going to be, it'll be released as a Kindle, but also on my website. All the funds raised from the website will go towards the funding, the funding of of Horses and Heroes. When I published as a Kindle, I only 35% of, you know, the cover will go towards, but anything that I get from it will be going towards the production budget.
Awesome.
We have tried running a few crowdfunding campaigns with very limited success. People keep saying, do a crowdfund, you know, people support vets. But there are so many campaigns out there that, you know, everybody gets just a little bit and nobody gets what they need. So there is a place on the website where you can donate if you know, believe in vets. Like I say, you know, I've been telling people, be a hero for our heroes. Help, you know, use the 6 degrees of separation and share our message. If you can't, share with us, because you're not supposed to say donate, because it turns people off. But if, you know, be a hero for our heroes and help us, make connections with corporations, with investors, which is, my toes are coming right up, to that legal line with that. But you know, in order to make it happen, we need the resources to make it happen. And one of the things that we are going to be doing for this project, as well as our other project, is veterans will be hired first. Horses and Heroes, most of, you know, it's going to be both cast and crew. We've already, most of the people attached already are veterans. But we're going to be, there's a lot of veterans already in the industry. And so they will get first priority for jobs. But we're going to also be doing the training to open the door for veterans who want a new career.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. We'll share this with the veterans of film and television. That's definitely a great group that would, you know, no doubt want to be involved.
Yeah. We've got our co-host, Bobby Kilgore. She is a Marine Army vet. She was a Marine, and then she came out, went to college, went back, enlisted in the Army as an assistant Army chaplain. She was medically retired, and she's back in college, and she is going to be a full chaplain. She's getting her master's in divinity, and she is the co-host. We have yet to get our host. Our first choice was Montel Williams, but it seems his life is being interesting right now. Lou Diamond Phillips would also be a wonderful host. He is a brat, and he's got a wonderful reputation, but I've also seen that he is a wonderful host. But we are open to other hosts as well. But they definitely have to be a vet. So.
Yeah, I'm sure somewhere there's going to be somebody that will, you know, turn out to be the right, you know, I mean, that's the thing about projects as well, is that like somehow, some way that like, you know, when things come together with the right pieces and stuff, then it just all comes together, like literally.
Well, the thing of it is, what you need, and what I've recently learned is faith does amazing things. And I am a bit of an A-type control freak. So the who, what, when, and where, you know, give me details. But since I started letting go, amazing things are happening, including this interview. I am very grateful that you are helping us get our message out, because it is so very important.
Absolutely, I agree, and I'm glad to do what I can. And so, yeah. So, what are some of the ways that people can learn more about the project, Theresa?
Okay, we do have a website, but it is a free website, so it's long and convoluted. The best way to learn more is we've got the Facebook page, and that's simply Horses and Heroes TV series. Or you can find me on Facebook. I'm more than willing to talk to anybody, anytime, about the projects. So I'm Theresa Chaze on Facebook, and then Horses and Heroes on Facebook.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely provide the links, of course.
Okay. And I told you about the other project, Operation Home Base. That's further down the road. It's a scripted TV series, and it combines the concepts of MASH, the Waltons, and NCIS into a family drama about forgiveness and second chances. And I've got several, the pilot and several episodes already written, but there are definitely some actors I want to work with. Alan Alda, there was Alan Alda, Graham Greene, Tom Selleck, Alyssa Milano, are all actors that I wrote characters for. And so if anybody out there knows them, hi there, please introduce me. I'm not shy.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Teresa. Really appreciate you taking time to talk with us about your projects, and definitely, yeah, we'll provide links to in the show notes, of course. And yeah, until next time, thanks for joining us on another indie creative journey. And I'm John Chang, and we'll talk to you next time. Alrighty.